Alrighty, party peoples of the interwebs, I am sitting here in a corner at the Pearson International Airport, getting ready to go home to the free state of Florida after having attended and participated in a conference yesterday put on by Rumble and Rebel News, fighting for free speech, opposing that ridiculous Bill C-63 Online Harms Act. I posted my speech on the interwebs if you want to check it out. I was up there with Don Jr. was there, Kimberly Guilfoyle, the team from Rebel News. It was an amazing event. But as I'm catching up on the news of the day, yesterday evening, I see that Candace Owens is in the news. And the reason why she's in the news is hilariously awesome. She signed up for this app called Minnect. It's a Patrick Bet-David app, M-I-N-N-E-C-T. I want to say it's sort of like Patreon, sort of like Facebook behind a paywall. I also humorously want to say it's sort of like OnlyFans, but for professionals and intellectuals. So you can pay to get a text message from someone who's a creator on the app. You can get a voicemail from them. You know, it's sort of like whatever that Cameo thing was. Or you can have phone calls and FaceTime phone calls, or whatever those are called. And so on the app, Patrick Bet-David uses it, Vincent Oceana uses it, Candace Owens uses it, and apparently, hello kids, apparently Chaz Palminteri is also on it. But the bottom line, you set your own pricing. You know, you want to charge $100 for a text, whatever. Candace Owens is in the news because her pricing has shocked the conscience of some people on the internet. She's charging $150 for a text, $400 bucks for a video call, and get this, $5,000 a minute for a real video FaceTime, like an interaction video call, with a minimum of 15 minutes. Now, if I'm doing my math correctly, that is $75,000 minimum if you want a 15-minute call with Candace Owens. This has shocked the conscience of people. They're sitting there saying Candace is a greedy, whatever you want to call her, outrageous, how dare she, rubbing in the face of the general public, how much she dares to charge. And people aren't really thinking about one aspect of this. There's a potential reason why Candace priced it this way, and it might be because she doesn't want to do video calls. And so by pricing like that, it's sort of a deterrent, saying, I don't really want to do this. I don't mind text messages, video calls, etc., but I don't want to do FaceTime calls with people, but I want to use the app. That's one way of using it. On Twitter, you have subscriptions. I prefer that people go support the work that I do with Robert Barnes on vivabarneslaw.locals.com. So I said, you want to subscribe on Twitter, $100 a month. But if you want to do it, I don't want people to do it. I specifically say in the instructions, no, go over to Locals, because that's where I prefer to get the support and to have the community. But nonetheless, some people have decided to support the work I do by subscribing on Twitter. So there's that aspect to it. It's not because she is greedy, it's because she doesn't want to do it. And if she's gonna do it, it's gonna have to be worth her time, so to speak. These kids, they're gonna absorb some of this information through osmosis. That's one theory. The other theory that I have as well is that, now I've lost it because I got distracted by these kids. The 15 minutes minimum for a FaceTime voice call. People are shocked. How dare she ask for $75,000? People think that they're offended by her. I have a feeling, and I have a theory, that people are actually sort of offended by the idea that there are people out there for whom $75,000 doesn't mean nothing to them. But they have so much money that $75,000 might be a fun way to spend to get the bragging rights, to troll the world and say, haha, I did a voice call with a phone video call with Candace Owens because I've got that money. There are people who spend $1 million on a car. There are people who go to Vegas and gamble with millions and millions of dollars. They don't mind spending $75,000 for an experience that gives them bragging rights. And so people think that they're offended at Candace Owens, but I think they're actually just shocked at what they perceive to be inequities in the world, that there are people out there with so much money that they will actually pay $75,000 for 15 minutes with Candace Owens. And there will be people doing it. There will be people doing it as a troll. There will be people doing it because they can, and they get to brag about it afterwards. But the bottom line, this is sort of a democracy, a capitalist market economy. If you don't want to spend the money, don't spend the money. If you want to ask for outrageous things, ask for outrageous things, and then if people actually give them to you because they feel that it's worth it for whatever the reason, that's how it works. But I don't fault Candace Owens for doing this. I can actually understand that the reason she might be doing this is text messages are good. You know, a little voice thing is good. It's a lot less commitment than 15 minutes where you have to sit down, prep, get into an intimate conversation with somebody, and maybe she wants to use the app and not do that, or maybe she thinks that she might actually be worth $75,000 for the experience, for whatever, and can charge it, and I guarantee you, she'll get it at least once, twice, maybe 3 times, and that is 3 times a regular person's salary because she asked for it and someone might think it's of value. So Don't hate the player, hate the game, to say it that way. All right, bottom line, people, if you like what I do, you know what to do. I'm not asking for 75,000 bucks for 15 minutes. Just like, share, subscribe. Make sure your notifications are turned on. Viva Frei on Rumble, Viva Frei on Twitter, vivabarneslaw.locals.com for the bestest, most above average community anywhere. The Sunday night shows are amazing with Robert Barnes. It's the Viva Barnes Law Sunday night extravaganza. And that is it. I'm gonna sit here and watch the airplanes go by as my plane gets delayed, maybe because of the geomagnetic forces that are going on in the sky. Did you guys see the Northern Lights yesterday? Because I didn't. I'm just looking at pictures of people on Twitter, and it looks glorious. I was sitting here in Toronto, drowned out by the unnatural city lights. I didn't see a darn thing. So that's it. If you like what I do, you know what to do, and more important than anything, exercise, eat healthy, talk to people in real life. Don't be jealous. Build yourselves. Peace out, peeps. Booyah. I'm going to go on a rant. How much do I have? 16 minutes left. I can do this. These governments, which have lied to us not just for years, but for centuries. In fact, lied to us since their inceptions. They are, I don't care what anybody thinks, they build roads, good for them. They are an evil that needs to be kept to the most minimal evil, period. They are evil, they have always been evil. No. And at the risk of being accused of throwing meat to a crowd, because anybody who thinks government is not evil, I'm going to say it is an idiot, because it's an inconsistent way to think of government. Because I know, like, they haven't stopped to think, why is government good and private corporation bad? Well, private corporations seeking profit. They have very selfish interests. Oh, I'm sorry, you don't think government has equally selfish, corrupt interests? I mean, if you don't trust humans in private enterprise, why the hell would you trust those same humans in government enterprise? Period. But bottom line, we need roads, we need hospitals, we need things that typically government has been able to provide with minimal corruption. Although, ask Quebec about the Olympic Stadium, and I think they'll tell you a different story. For those of you who don't know, what was it? It's sort of like the ArriveCan app scandal. It was supposed to cost $80,000, ended up costing $60 million. What did the Olympic Stadium? It was supposed to cost like whatever. It cost tenfold what it was supposed to cost. I think we finally paid it off in the late '80s or early '90s. Fact check me on that. But bottom line, it was a corrupt scandal that cost exponentially more than it was budgeted to. Why? Because government is just as corrupt as people. Like, people think you go into law and you're going to see dignified people, because after all, law is a dignified profession. Law is run by humans, and humans are both good and bad. And some humans are bad, and some humans who are bad are attracted to positions of power for bad reasons. Now, I was talking about how bad the government is. So the idea that that the government is some sort of benevolent good, and that it should be as big as possible. We've seen how it works to absolutely coerce submission from a population. The more the people are dependent on the government, either for your $2,000 a month because they shut your business down, or because you're employed by the government and you can't bite the hand that feeds you, the more government control, the more control of a society, the more they can make Hitler's willing executioners, because nobody can say no, because it means their family and not someone else's family.